And yet there are still doubters on this very show. Let's go. And we begin with the end of the Sixers season. Jason Tatum, a record-setting closeout game, 51 points, most ever in a Game 7. He is the first Celtics player ever with multiple 50-point playoff games. James Harden, meanwhile, didn't even reach double digits. Harden was held to 9 points on 3 of 11 shooting and went scoreless for the third straight fourth quarter. You heard that right. And Joel Embiid became the fourth straight MVP to be eliminated before the conference finals. Embiid went 1 of 6 from the field in the second half, including an 0 for 4 third quarter. And there is half man, half amazing Vince Carter himself and our NBA reporters, regular old men, Nick Friedel and Tim Bontemps. All right, guys, let me oversimplify here. Game 7s, what it comes down to, means the teams are evenly matched. You got to a Game 7. Who has the best player? Who's the best player on the floor? So you could talk about Harden. He choked as usual in a Game 7. I agree. I hate to say it. I was thinking he could do it.
It's almost like somebody said before the series started that he couldn't do that.
Well,
Who's laughing
he
now?
He said he couldn't do it.
Who's laughing now?
I didn't promise a Game 7 James Harden performance. I just said he was capable of 1. He gave 2, but he didn't give it in Game 7. And Doc Rivers, horrible, record in elimination games now. But Joel Embiid won MVP. You're supposed to be the best player on the floor. You were not. Jason Tatum was. And if you really want to talk about why you lost, be the best player in a Game 7. You know why Bill Russell has all those championships? Go look up what he did in Game 7s. He destroyed everybody. Tim, you were there yesterday. What happens now with the 76ers?
That's a great question because really, Max, when you get down to it, that was the story of yesterday's game. It was set up for Joel Embiid both in the fourth quarter of Game 6 and in Game 7 to be the guy to carry the Sixers home, to get them to the conference finals, to have that kind of legacy moment that we think back to LeBron James in Game 6 in Boston Garden, right? Gets them over the hump, gets them into the finals, ends up winning his first championship. Joel Embiid didn't get it done yesterday. That's the bottom line. Like, Jason Tatum played great. James Harden, as you said, you could sort of expect him to have a game like that. I did not expect going into that game we'd be talking about Joel Embiid having a sort of meh performance that he was not really an impact on the game. That was completely off the board for me.
Vince, it is interesting. Giannis wins MVP, but he doesn't win the championship. Then later he wins it. Jokic, same thing. Maybe this will be his year. Embiid now got the MVP. Maybe the championship is in the future. Who deserves most of the blame for the Sixers' exit?
I'd say the two. Joel Embiid and James Harden. Take a little bit of both of that. And one thing I think Joel needed to understand is that you wanted the MVP, you got it. But what comes with the MVP is a bigger target. And they're trying to stop you and make it tougher for you because of how you played in the regular season. And I thought Game 7, that's when you have to shine. That's when you make your money. That's where your legacy starts or ends. And they did not deliver. Point blank, period.
They didn't deliver. Friedel, what do you think?
You knew what you were getting from Harden. Great in Games 1 and 4. Pretty solid in Game 5. Awful in the other 4. He was terrible.
In the losses. Yep.
Awful. Here's the problem, though, guys. When you go out of your way, as Embiid did, for so long and say, I'm the MVP, I deserve more respect, how do you earn that respect? You earn it in the playoffs. And when you have that moment at home, and Tatum has been awful in Game 6, you don't even get a shot in those last few minutes, and you follow it up like that, I'm sick of talking about the Sixers. They're not good enough. They are not good enough. This group together is not going to make it. I don't think Embiid, the story is done on him, but I think it might be as far as a championship is concerned in Philadelphia. If he wants his most success, I think he's going to have to find it somewhere
Well, it's like
else.
Dirk Nowitzki in 2007. They lose to the Warriors in the first round. Obviously, this is a much better opponent, different situation. But the overall thing is Joel Embiid wins MVP, has a chance to really deliver in the playoffs, and doesn't. Now, he's got to build back up from that because, to your point, Nick, until he gets it done in the playoffs, this is going to be the question that hangs over not just the Sixers, but over Joel Embiid. He has to get it done on the highest level. Because like you said, Vince, when you win that MVP, target's on your back, it's time for you to deliver, and he did not in Game 7.
Vince, okay, we're going to see about Jokic this year. And AD has done it and Giannis has done it, but they're not really kind of, I know Embiid can play on the outside in the pinch post. They're not space-eating, back-to-the-basket type bigs. Not that Joel is exactly either, but he's more like that. Is it possible in this NBA for a guy like that to be the best player on a championship team?
And that's where I was going to go next, is that, okay, it's tough, but Joel has the ability to rebound and start the offense, start the break and everything. So for a guy like, even Doc the coach, but James Harden has to realize my MVP needs touches, because when he's playing well, it opens up shots for all of us. That pick and roll becomes more deadly because of Joel Embiid getting touches, creating scoring on his own. So that's one of the things I'm watching. I'm just like, okay, get him a touch. I don't care. Like, I played with Jason Kidd. I played with Steve Nash, and I played with Mark Jackson, 3-point guards who understood the situation in real time. So when I needed a touch or I wasn't playing well, he force-feed me. Shoot the ball. Be aggressive. We didn't see that. When they made adjustments, they started creeping over on that pocket pass. All right, well, at some point, go hand on the ball. Whatever he needed to do to get touches, and that didn't happen.
So that comes down to Harden and Doc, does it not?
A little bit of both.
Good? What do you think should happen with Doc, Nick?
I would think Doc is gone and they make a change. But Max, there's only so much Doc can do. And this goes exactly what Vince is saying. Embiid has got to make the action happen. Harden looks so passive in game 6 and 7. You're going, what is the matter? And Vince, what I'd ask you, because you lived it, why is that step so difficult for guys who go from a dominator in the regular season to getting to the playoffs and struggling to get over that hump?
Because it's, in the regular season, if we're playing taking it one-on-one. If we're playing one-on-one,
That would not go very well.
But and then you go on to the next city. So the preparation is different. Sometimes a team coming off a back-to-back. Now they have time to prepare, and it gets like that adjustment. And guys doesn't have, like, you have your pet move. Well, sometimes your pet move doesn't work in the playoff. Do you have another counter or a plan B?
Let me tell you something. Whenever you hear, oh no, he is athletic, he decelerates quickly, that tells you he's not athletic compared to the top guys. And in every sport, when you get to the championship rounds, the smart guys who are also super athletic have an advantage, right? And Harden is doing it with smoke and mirrors, and then you come up against other smart players who can also jump out the gym. It's a little bit different. You know something about that. The Grizzlies have suspended Ja Morant from all team activities after showing him holding a gun began circulating on social media. The video has since been deleted. Ja has already served an 8-game suspension after he displayed a handgun on Instagram Live while in a Denver area strip club back in March. Senior NBA insider